Hello. On this video, I'm going to show you how to find the sample mean, sample standard deviation, and sample variance given raw data on an fx-300ES plus second edition. So I'm going to go ahead and clear this. And the first thing we need to do, so by what I mean by raw data, is they just give you numbers. So if you had number 13, 27, 38, 51, 42, and 19, how do you find the sample mean, sample standard deviation, sample variance? Well, in this particular case, what we do is we need to get into the stat mode. So right here is a mode button. Okay. Most Casios will have a mode button. So we'll hit the mode. And if you take a look at number 2, it says statistics. That's what I want, do statistics. And then it gives you a bunch of choices. Gives you a lot of choices, different types of things. But what we want, our statistics is going to be one variable. Mean, median, mode, etc. So I have one. Let's recall, we had mode 2 and 1. Now here I have a frequency and I don't need it. So if you do have a frequency table on there, that's no problem. But some of you don't have it on there, so I want to show you what happens not. So if you do have it, you can just put in numbers like you have here. 13 equals blah, blah, blah. It'll just give you a frequency of 1, no worries. But let's say, for instance, you don't have it. I want to show you what it looks like too. So what we could do is we clear it, shift, mode, and then, shift setup, and then go down. And if you go down the key in number 3 is statistics. It says you want the frequency on or off. I don't really need the frequency for these. Go ahead, 2, and it would be off. Now I clear it. I'd hit just mode, number 2, and number 1 for one variable. It just gives me one variable. So if you do have a frequency table, no worries. If you don't, no worries. Now just do it this way. We have 13 and equals, 27 and equals, 38 and equals, 51 and equals, 42 equals, and 19 and equals. I should have 7 values there. Now, what we want to do is we want to start doing some statistics with those things. So now we have all the data in our calculator. We want to do statistics. We start with all clear. Now, if you look down here to see where it says stat above the number 1, because it's above it and then written in the orange, we hit shift, stat 1, and it gives us a bunch of options. I'm going to go through a few of these, but for right now, I'm mostly interested in how to find the sample mean. So I'm going to go under variables. Number 4 is for variables, and it gives me a couple of choices. Number 1 is n, which is the sample size. Number 2 is a sample mean. X with a bar above it is a sample mean. So I'm hitting number 2, and always hit equals afterwards. That's the number 1 thing that people do bad. They hit it, and then whatever the answer was before, they just write it. You have to hit the equal to sign, so don't forget the equal to sign. That gives me a sample mean. X bar is a sample mean. English letters are sample, Greek letters are population. So now I can clear it. It's always wise to clear it first and then do the next. So now I want to find sample standard deviation. Shift, number 1, on number 4, and so now 4 is SX. English is sample, so sample standard deviation, number 4. And then equals 14.500. Now that's a sample standard deviation. To get the variance, I simply square that number. I hit the x squared button, and equals 210.267. That is going to be my variance. So that's how you find the sample mean, sample standard deviation, sample variance. Now, I've shown you basically what you need to know. However, I want to show you some more things down here as well. So if I hit shift 1, I want to go over number 4 again. The n is the sample size. So if I hit 1 and equals 6, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 values there. And I don't need that. If I hit shift 1 and I hit 4 again, and number 3 is sigma, and that's the population standard deviation. You will not be using that very often. You can find it, but it's not going to be used very often. Don't worry too much. My guess is you're not going to use this at all. Go ahead and clear that. Shift 1 again. Now we explored everything in the variable. If we do the data, number 2, it just goes back to our formula. So if we wanted to change something, oh, I messed something up or I had to put something else in there, that's what the data is for. Clear that. Shift 1. What's very interesting is number 3. Number 3 will give you two things, the sum of the x's. So that would be 13 plus 27 plus 38 plus 51 plus 42 and 19. So if I add all those numbers up, it comes to be 190. Then shift step 1. If I do the 3 number sums and sum of x squareds, what that tells me is 13 squared plus 27 squared plus 38 squared means multiply by itself, plus 51 squared plus 42 squared plus 19 squared. What that equals is 7,068. Now this number, the sum of x and n, is needed to, if you're going to figure all these, like these values here, the sample mean, sample standard deviation, sample variance, if you do that by hand, you'll need those values. I just want to point out something else. Shift stat 1 and a min-max number 5. It gives you, I don't want to go through the particulars, but it gives you the minimum and maximum value in the first quartile, the median, and the third quartile. So these would be the indices you would use, the numbers you would use if you're doing a box and whiskers. So if you're doing a box and whiskers, you want to use those. I don't want to go through the particulars because I'm not going to show you how to do it. I just want to show you that's what's given there. Now with that being said, that's what I wanted to show you. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a blessed day. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.